start this. No, I'll put it at normal volume tonight. And we're live. Didn't say it this time. You said it every week for the past couple of weeks.
I thought you went longer last time. That's why I was waiting.
I know I did. I just thought I'd go for a quick one. Evening, all.
Hello.
Blimey, this is fucking high energy from all of my co-hosts.
It's a very high energy day.
I don't know if we're able to keep this level up. So, Jonah, turn your fucking mic up, pal.
You saying you still can't hear me?
No, it's
It's underwater.
Ah, mate. Fucking fly to the same continent and speak.
Well, at least it's not me fucking up the audio this time, which is a change.
Hey, Mosley, mate.
Big Les.
Speak.
Big Les is in.
Evening, man.
Evening, lads.
Evening, Mosley. Mosley, have you met Gabe?
Yeah. He was on a stream with Brutus the other night. Was it Friday night?
I think so, yeah. I think it was
Friday. Yeah, it's good, lad. Yeah. How's everyone's past few days gone, all right?
Yeah, not too bad. Like I say, I'm still at work, so not much has changed for me.
Yeah, same old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm back at work now, but luckily my day's only like 10 till 4, so it's pretty great, and it's really slow. So I've spending far too much time just scrolling through Twitter, which means I think I'm developing some sort of like weird sort of, I don't know, when you just read Twitter for like 3 hours a day, it's just not good for you. I think you develop some sort of weird psychosis.
I find you get quite bored, don't you?
Yeah, it's a mixture of boredom and also at the same time it's like, I think just with when you're constantly fed the same kind of 3 stories over and over again with people's absolute brainlit tier analysis, it's just it gets a bit tiring. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, every now and again, it's been like, oh, great, I've got a new video of police officers beating up people, and it's like, I've enjoyed this, and then it's like, oh no, now it's been analysed to death by everyone, and this is boring now.
It's almost like, of all the words of Mice and Men, the worst of all was that Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals was indeed right again. Rule 7, keep it fun.
Yeah.
Fucking.
That's pretty difficult nowadays, mate.
I don't know what to say about this riot shit. I mean, is it the Jews with their final push, with their final solution for the white man?
I don't know. There's a whole lot.
Do you think it's just a Tuesday?
Yeah, I do kind of wonder sometimes, because I don't like to get stuck in a rut with my thinking. I do wonder whether it's just the media drumming up stories.
I think it started as that, and it kind of got a bit too out of control. I mean, I think it started with, oh no, another black man. And then it kind of, because everyone's been shut indoors, it's really hot and nice everywhere. I think everyone's like, I want to go outside out of lockdown. I need a good excuse. Oh, and then when they're out there, they're like, oh, I haven't been able to buy myself some new Nike trainers all week. Maybe I can do it without getting paid. I spent all my Trump books already.
But generally, when I get off, I don't go looting a store and setting fire to someone's house or whatever else they've been up to. My
48D chess version of this is what it is. The government wants everyone to come out of lockdown, but they don't want everyone to remember that they fucked it up, so they just give us a riot instead.
It has escalated pretty badly, though. Like beyond what I thought it was going to do. I think.
But if you've seen, I saw a poll earlier. Not to get stuck down with the boring stuff. I saw a poll earlier, and it was 38% of people disapprove of bringing the military in, whilst 58% do approve. I think it gave me a bit of hope.
I think it's going to come under military. I think you're going to see some form of martial kind of law brought in if they don't calm it down, because you've literally got it's escalating now further and further into like what was a isolated area in one city now to loads of cities with loads of people who have been affected by it.
The problem is,
are right on the periphery of it.
If just being the libertarian in chat for a second, you don't need the police to deal with this. You could do it entirely voluntary. All you'd have to do is put out a call for armed volunteers. Yeah,
There
a
are
load of
areas
white
where
lads
that's
who
happening.
literally just want
There
a load
are.
of baseball
There is,
bats. I
mate.
know I saw a load in Philly.
It's-
I've just
good.
turned up to like smash some shit up, which is
I've-
Recreational nukes.
I've seen some guys who actually who've gone out and they're like rolling the streets of the local area
With baseball bats,
you know,
is that the one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Have you
Well,
seen the
well,
guys in the Boston guy where they go up to a bunch of Black Lives Matter? He's like, "Get that faggot energy out of here." It's just, I've been enjoying those bits. Those bits have been really good. The rest of it's been a bit boring.
I feel sorry for the people's businesses, who are quite legit people who had their business and livelihood just destroyed because
Well,
someone wants a
lot of people aren't
a free pair
insured
of-
either, are they? A lot of businesses in America.
Well, that's it, isn't it? It's affording the insurance. You got to think of the people. As much as
Yeah.
we're on the other side of the Atlantic, these fucking arseholes are creating havoc, aren't they? Do you know what I mean?
Well,
There are
our blacks will try and join in with it because they think they're American.
They
and
tried the
they're-
other day,
and they're
didn't they? In
oppressed
some
by
kind
the
of
police.
protest, didn't they?
Have you seen them in Spain as well? They've started kicking off in Spain.
Oh God.
And this is a bit. I'll have to see. I'll see if I can send it to the group. It's basically a bunch of. I mean, I sent it to a mate of mine because he speaks Spanish and Catalan. I said, "Can you translate it?" And he basically said they were all shouting, "Fuck the police," or more in Spain. It was literally, "The police are all whores," which I thought was a bit different.
It's always about people's mothers, isn't it? With the Continentals.
Spanish do use that word quite a lot, though, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do like that word.
That's
Oh,
like
I
the
worst
suppose,
thing
it, I
you can
suppose
be.
it rhymes, isn't it? Policia wala puta or whatever it is.
The thing is, certain levels of police in Spain, they're pretty brutal. They're not like in this country where they'll back off. They like a bit of physicality to the Spanish.
Oh,
police,
you don't see three of them trying to arrest one person while the criminal's hanging on to one of the coppers' leg, do you?
No, it's not like that. It's it's bat out, smash them around the head, and deal with the consequences.
If they're still
later.
moving, shoot them.
Yeah. Do you just think that beforehand they're all in the lorry sitting there going, it's like, oh yeah, lads, we're going. We mustn't cause a fuss. We've just got to go in and kick the shit out of each other. And then there's like that old riot copper that's got like a rollie in the back going, I remember when Franco was in charge. Water cannons and batons. Nah, we use fucking whips and chains, son. You ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen fucking nothing. You know what I mean?
You ever seen a video of about 5 Spanish police officers? It's one of these just a Labor Day ones there, in I think probably Valencia in Catalonia, and they're there's this big group of all these black clad anarchists with red flags coming, and there's just 5 bodies, and they kind of look at each other, and then they just run forward and just start absolutely wailing them down this sort of small side street, and they push them back, and there's 5 of them versus 100. It's one of the best things you'll see. I'll see if I can find that.
Well, if you think about that, I mean, our riot coppers used to do it in a shirt and blazer with a fucking tit on their head, didn't they? And they'd quell a fucking riot dressed like that, wouldn't they?
Oh yeah, they just used to link arms, and then when the arms broke with each other, they got a wooden truncheon and they just start smacking them.
I know that I said a pretty decent riot that I saw a few years ago was when Casa Pound, the sort of modern Italian fascists, were having a demonstration somewhere in the north of Italy, and there were a load of commie Antifa types chucking bricks and making a nuisance. And one of these commie Antifa types chucked this flare, right, and it hit this copper who was bald and he didn't have a helmet on.
Ooh.
On the back of his head, proper twatted him, and I think he got a little bit burned. Got really annoyed, turned around, and was just like, "Oh fuck this," and just shouted an order, and these cops parted like the Red Sea, right? And then fucking 500 really angry Italian fascist football lads just literally go fucking running through these cops. And kick the shit out of about 50 odd Antifa. It was fucking glorious. It was just like, oh fuck this, do it yourself. I'm not protecting you.
We need the other thing we need another nut shot. I fucking love that. Do you remember the tear gas canister nut shot from last year? Was it last year or a couple of years ago?
It's one of those things you've just got to enjoy it, because that's a once a decade thing, isn't it? That's a once a decade bit of video where you're like, oh mate.
Didn't he get his cock out on the news or something? So didn't one of his testicles swell up or something, didn't it?
I think isn't there another one as well?
What, another tear gas testicle battering?
Yeah.
Tear gas testicle.
I don't think it's the same. Oh yeah, yeah. Hold on. There's another one. It's in Canada. Hold on. I'll send it in general.
How did I know you'd have the link for that?
Trying to use my Google foo.
Are we going to watch some riot videos then? Is that what we're going to do?
You've got to create it for the good ones.
Oh, ooh.
Because it hits him and then explodes like as it is bouncing off his knob. That's the worst bit about that. That's like double tap.
Taken out.
I think Adam saw this earlier on. This lady asked Mascara Black Mosley, and he called him a cunt.
Yeah,
We
Batten.
haven't- Look, what about that?
Yeah, Batten said that, yeah.
What do you think to that then,
His
lads?
part is he called Mosley a traitor when literally one of the first soldiers on our side killed in World War II was a black shirt.
Yeah, I know. I asked him because he basically used the equivalency of like the EU and Mosley's idea of like European nation and called it the same thing. Which I personally not a big fan of Mosley's European nation, but it's not the same thing at all, you know. And I basically pointed out, no wonder he was in the political wilderness if that's his interpretation of politics, of his understanding. You know, he was a leader of UKIP. You know, that shows how bad things must have got in UKIP if he was in charge.
Well, the UKIP Cambridgeshire were simping for blacks earlier on Twitter, and now everyone's surprised. Even the blacks can't
No,
believe
they
it happened.
happy. Even worse than that, they did a happy Ramadan, didn't they?
Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
couple of weeks ago. An Eid Mubarak thing on their page.
Yeah.
Yeah, about a week or so ago, wasn't it?
Right, so I'm going to play this video. I'll stick the sound through to you lads and then play a couple of riot videos for all the lads. I'm playing the Spanish police versus Antifa first.
We can't see it.
Can you hear that? You probably won't be able to see it.
We can hear it, but we can't see it.
If I screen share, it'll probably shit out my internet connection.
On YouTube's really blurry, but yeah, it's showing on YouTube.
Oh god, it is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, we can see the videos in chat, mate. You don't have to.
Yeah.
Elena,
Fucking
someone burned down your house.
You were gonna pretend
Oh, what the
nothing
fucking
happened.
is playing now? Will
We
you
all
stop
have parts that
it? Fucking YouTube just does whatever the fuck it wants to, doesn't it? It's a fucking shitty
Yeah.
program.
Can turn autoplay off.
Yeah,
Should be a button in the top corner.
Flashbang Nutshot. I'll stick this one on next.
we still can't see.
Oh,
the
you're
video.
like that one, Hemi.
Yeah, I'm playing for the audience more than you lads.
Oh, are we live?
Yeah.
Are we? Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, I know.
Check this out.
I literally have no idea. anymore.
Flashbang to the balls. Look at this guy. Here it comes. Oh, right to the balls.
Oh,
and
you
then
fucker.
explosion.
Fuck! Ouch. That'll change his fucking mind about being a commie bastard. won't it?
Yeah. Cool, dear. Ain't having children after that.
Wait, they might be a little bit retarded. I think that's we can say something about.
Well, yeah, it might have a bit of brain. It might have a bit of hearing damage. Right. So what was I going to do first? Have you seen the one? Woman strips to bikini made of masks outside shop to protest lockdown. Is this
Where was this?
Is this just hoes hoeing? Is it? Is that how we're describing this one? Of course, it's in LA, so she's probably doing her. Doing an advert, isn't she? Jesus Christ, the absolute fucking state of her. So so for you lads that can't see it, she's got one over each tit, one over each shoulder, a mask over her eyes, and then one round each ankle.
Like
Fucking states of her.
Yeah, I just went onto the stream itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, it's on the Star.
I think considering the state of the riots, is this going to be is this going to be the end of the social distancing? Is it? Because those rioters aren't social distancing, are they?
Nope.
Oh no! Have you seen? I was watching the 6 o'clock news earlier on whilst I was having my tea, and it was basically the same. It was really funny. And there they were all talking out. They're like, "Oh, all these people who are working at Westminster are very close to each other, trying to get on the tube." And it's like, you've not covered the fact that all of these thousands of what's there.
What I suppose we should do is let's actually go right to the start of it. Let's go right to the start. So there was a post that has gone absolutely viral on social media. Probably one of the big...
Look at these Tory party aides.
Fucking hell, Hemmer. We're gonna have to guide to live streaming from like, Bill Gates' Microsoft.
Fucking autoplaying
live streaming for fuckwits.
Autoplay shit. It's autoplaying, and I literally cannot see what is autoplaying. Just scroll the whole page, and you can't see any of it. It's right at the bottom, the bit that's autoplaying. Yeah, I was just going to talk about what's going on in Barrow. I mean, I don't know if there only been. This is nearly a week old, so. But there was protests erupted in Barrow-in-Furness over the rape gang stuff.
But like actual protests.
Yeah, I think that I did hear. I don't know how true it is. I did hear some report that apparently the Asian groomers had bought off the local paper.
Not only that. Conveniently, just by pure coincidence, it appears that Barrow-in-Furness is the hotspot for coronavirus at the minute, according to the Mail. You know, by pure coincidence. You know, it's not to try and quell a riot or anything. It's pure coincidence.
That's
just pure coincidence. The figures have produced this result.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. In relate, what is it? And blah blah. This is from Unity News Network from like last Wednesday, I think. So it says, in relation to death threats made against the takeaway owners in Barrow, Cumbria police said a 30-year-old man from Barrow was arrested on suspicion of threats to kill following incidents in the early hours of 20th of May. He's been interviewed by officers and has been released under investigation. So the cops are literally going to arrest anybody at all, except for the actual fucking people who did the raping.
That's just ridiculous.
Mm.
Hey, you know what? Maybe these rioters in America have got something right.
Yeah.
No, mate, wait. It might be the police's new strategy. Because think about it: when everyone who could potentially be raped is in prison, who are the gangs going to rape then? About it.
Each other.
Yeah, each other.
Maybe.
Or DHS.
28 million DHS. So got that one. Oh, this is fucking low energy tonight, boys. Have you seen this one about young men are more likely to be lonely than older people? These are all in the potential stories if you want to read yourself, lads.
What do they class as young men?
I should tell you in a second.
Age is just a number, mate.
Age
is just a number.
Right, young men living in individualistic countries like US and the UK are more likely to be lonely than older people or women, study finds. Shocker. Young people and men say they're lonely more often than older people and women. I mean, it's a very vague thing being lonely, isn't it? It's not something you can measure, is it?
It's also, who are they talking to? You always hear these, and I'm like, who are they actually interviewing?
Well, apparently in the study, ranging in age from 16 to 99, it's found there's a steady decrease in loneliness as people get older. I don't know what that means.
Is that? Do you get lonelier with age, or is that older people are used to having communities and young men aren't?
I have absolutely no idea because they don't actually answer any of the questions.
Maybe they just kill themselves.
Lonely people kill themselves.
That's what less people are lonely as they get older. Yeah, because all these lonely people have just lost themselves. Here you go. They're a bit of a happy Tuesday night little tidbit.
Authors of the study say the gradual decrease in loneliness with age holds across all countries and cultures, but is slowed by a more collectivist society such as Brazil. That doesn't even make. So the gradual decrease.
How much do you want to bet? How much do you want to bet that in 3 weeks there'll be an article out going young immigration might solve the loneliness epidemic for young men? How quickly do you want to bet? I've literally got 20 fucking quid.
Same day. There's probably one out
the
same day.
Good evening, chaps.
Hello, Hobbit.
Hold on. Is this where the blood sports are going to come in?
Yeah, blood sports. Go on in. Can't unmute yourself. Hobbit's here for unarmed combat.
I was just going to say we have food crime news in this episode, audience. I'm not sure if it's been prefaced or not yet, but a food crime has been committed somewhere in the southwest of England, where a pork pie was viciously raped and abused horrifically by having Nutella introduced onto it.
Oh,
grim.
This egregious and frankly, I would say, Nazi-like assault of our fine British pork pies is worse than the grooming gangs. It's worse than rap music. It's even worse than feminist literature. And I'm frankly disgusted. And out of protest, I'm going to go onto a 24-hour fast of mourning, as my stomach will just play a sad tune to the lost 70 million pints that will never be drunk. Pork pie.
Who did this, Hobbit?
Coletti did it to a pork pie. He put Nutella on a pork pie.
The bastard knows who he is. The pork pie murderer.
He's muted.
Can you point to the pork pie murderer in this chat?
Go on, answer for your crimes.
I didn't do it.
You sent photographic evidence to us of
deep fake, mate. Deep fake. I'm being set up right now, mate. Set up by Collett and his co. It's a split movement.
In my client's defense, Gray, he was just following orders. Even if he is a filthy pork pie genocidal maniac and a
degenerate.
And a degenerate. Yeah.
You need to rescind your English license.
Respect my culture.
Even Hobbit wouldn't do that, and he's Belgian.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, none of that.
Oh no, I forget we're not supposed to be racist on the far right anymore, are we?
No, we're supposed to be. We're multicultural on this racist panel. I'll have you know. And I will not tolerate such food crimes in the future. You can acid attack our women. You can even groom them. You can even have drill music on BBC One. But we will not have Nutella and pork pies or any such combination thereof. Nor will we have sweet condiments put onto Scotch eggs. However, I would say that perhaps pickle and Scotch eggs is permissible.
It is. Pickle and Scotch eggs is very nice. But what do you mean by sweet condiments on Scotch eggs?
I mean, like a nice chutney is very good.
Yeah, Scotch eggs. Why have we gone from pork pies to Scotch eggs?
Well, I'm thinking other sort of snack savoury foods like Scotch eggs, pork pies, pasties, sweet condiments like chutneys and the sauce, that sort of sauce. That's okay. But
what about pineapple cheese and sausage on a stick that you get like buffets and working men's clubs?
I don't mind that, you see, because I grew up in foreign lands having Hawaiian toast, as they called it, where you get slice of ham, pineapple and cheese, and you bake it in the oven until it's all toasted.
Oh
no.
Oh, God.
Well, have you ever had a pineapple pizza?
Yeah.
No.
That's
civilized.
No, I haven't.
All right.
Pineapples are for cocktails and gammon.
End of. Yeah,
Hobbit is gammon, aren't you? You are a gammon, aren't you, Hobbit?
Of all the meats, gammon is the one I eat the most of. I very much like gammon. You are what you eat, and when people see me, there's like, that guy's a gammon. Especially Guardian readers, they're keen to point out that guy likes gammon. I'm like, yes, I'm very enthusiastic about the meat. I think they're using it in the derogatory fashion, mind you, but they are Guardian readers. So,
I don't know. I'm a nice bit of bloody steak man myself.
Steak's good, but
good
ham, pork, pineapple. The pig is the noblest of all meats.
Yeah, do like a bacon sandwich.
Yeah, you can't get halal pork either. That's why we should just go for an entirely pork diet.
That should be on the citizenship test. If we have to have one, it should be eat this bacon sarnie.
Yeah.
And then the test is what sauce do you put on it?
Yeah.
I would just have a rule that if supermarkets are putting food out, it has to have either alcohol or pork gelatin or pork in it, no matter what it is.
Because that deals with Jews, Muslims, vegans, vegetarianism, vegetarians, Mormons, the infirm, and who else? Jehovah's Witnesses. Yeah, there you go. That's a good test.
I mean, I'd even have it in the toothpaste, pork gelatin, and alcohol.
Oh. But what about the Ali G rule for immigration?
If they're fit, they're in.
Yeah, only fit birds. We're gonna have only fit birds in it.
Then we'd have to have like long discussions about what is fit, what is not, and then you're going to get people like Chad Gold saying, "Oh, check out this gook, she's fit, isn't it?"
Yeah, but then again, you're just
Chad Gold offering her a cup.
You just, oh god.
Is this what we repurposed the House of Lords for? It's like, right, your only debate, what is fit?
Yeah.
But this is the thing. If you're talking about fit, then you get into everyone's gonna be like, oh yeah, bone structure. We agree on bone structure, and the one that's going to take 8 years to solve is the redhead question. You know what I mean? It's like, how much you've got it.
You don't like redheads.
I'm colorblind. I have no.
Well, isn't it like an amplifier? Is that if you're attractive and you're redheaded, you're really attractive, but if you're ugly and redheaded, you're really ugly.
I thought it was attractive to certain groups of people. So, for example, if someone likes redheads, they're willing to overlook everything else, and if they don't, it's a massive turn off or something.
Gabe's quite right. I've never seen an in between redhead. They were either mingers or gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
What about Bianca from EastEnders?
I liked Bianca.
What?
Ming or gorgeous? Ming or gorgeous?
Let me have a look at Bianca.
Oh yeah. Oh, you know what? I'm on your hobby. I'm on your side there. I would.
Yeah.
Did she have like
gentlemen, please, gentlemen, please, gentlemen.
I thought she was Tiffany. Yeah, I know. I like Bianca. I'd have been happy with Bianca. And Tiffany was the other.
Bianca, Hobbit. Hobbit. Would you like Bianca screeching your name? Hobbit.
Should be screeching other things.
I didn't know it was possible to contract a rash through the internet.
Bianca smash or pass. Booyaka says, "You like Bianca? What the fuck?"
Yeah, but Dissident... Oh, hang on. I'm mixing up Bianca and Dissident Thoughts. He was saying that brown on sausages and red on bacon. I'd rather have brown on both bacon and sausages, but...
neither, really. But
I don't know what he was referencing, but God's Own said Capstan is correct.
I think on the redhead question, if I
remember
it correctly.
Are we going to talk about...
on the red and brown.
Are we going to talk about families of cancer patients pan disrespectful videos of dancing NHS staff while patients are dying due to cancelled operations?
Oh no, I've not seen that. That sounds.
It's in potential stories if you want to hunt it down.
Ooh, let's have a look.
Yeah, but because let's be honest, the equivalent would be the fucking lorry drivers lining up at the depot doing like like the Macarena or something while there's shortages of food in the supermarkets. You see what I mean? We get absolutely destroyed if we pulled that.
Or hearse drivers doing burnouts while the cremation's going on, isn't it? It's the fucking same sort of thing, isn't it?
Or street sweepers, doing tap dancing rather than just clearing shit up. It's just, it's like, can you just do your jobs, please? We know you're bored.
Yeah, but the problem is, it's one of those things that you just sort of want to lean in and go, listen, doctor, I know that for a fact that you're on 90 grand a year. Do you think you could stop taking the piss, please, and just go back to fucking work?
Well, they've had a great time, haven't they? Apparently the hospitals are pretty much empty, aren't they?
Oh yeah.
I just fucking love it though, and I fucking hear junior doctors like, we work so long, and I'm like, cries in lorry driver.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My heart bleeds. Now get on with it. Like you did volunteer for this.
Yeah, GPs hiding away, aren't they?
You did 5 years at university, and then you've done your probationary period as well to become a doctor. And the thing is, at the end of that, though, you're probably going to end up somewhere like comfy in the Cotswolds on about 300,000 a year, serving like really posh people. At the end of the day, what are most people going to get towards the end of life? You take the good with the bad, mate.
Yeah, exactly. So it says, families of cancer patients who have had their treatment and scans cancelled have criticised NHS staff for posting videos of dance routines in hospital, because they have stopped it. I haven't seen any on Twitter for a while. Groups of nurses from wards in London, Buckinghamshire, Leeds and Wolverhampton have created the videos using the TikTok app. One woman whose brother was treating coronavirus patients in London coronavirus patients in London and sister was performing surgery said she was... Does that even make sense to anybody?
It is the Mail Online.
One woman whose brother was treating coronavirus patients in London and sister was performing surgery said she was seriously pissed off by the clips.
Right, there probably should be some commas in there. Right.
Quite a few.
Yeah, one woman, comma, whose brother was treating coronavirus patients in London, comma, and sister was performing surgery, comma, said
that
she was seriously pissed off by the clips. No, it doesn't. Hang on. Full stop.
Oh, yeah, no, it does. One woman whose brother was treating coronavirus patients in London and sister was performing surgery said she was seriously pissed off by the clip. Thanks, Mail Online. We've figured we've cracked the code. So it's a woman whose brother and sister are doctors. Yeah.
Right, okay. So can a grammar Nazi in chat correct me that I've said... Actually, correct me on this. Can someone mark my test paper, please? Because I don't think I've got that exactly right.
I think one woman
you shouldn't have multiple. Hold on. I know there is only one and. It should be comma and sister was performing the surgery.
No, that's the one. Yeah. So one woman.
Because
right.
It's a supplementary clause that's in between the primary and secondary clause, isn't it?
So it would be correction. One woman, comma, whose brother was treating coronavirus patients in London and sister was performing surgery, comma, said she was seriously...
No, I think it's before.
No, you don't need a comma there, do you?
No?
Yeah, you do because it's a supplementary clause.
Oh, okay.
Because the sentence is like, one woman said she was seriously pissed off by the clips, but your supplementary clause is in the middle of the sentence. To be honest, the whole sentence structure is terrible in that.
When you get to an end of the sentence and something, then you use a full stop. You don't use and then continue the sentence after you've described something. It's like, you go and something. You don't go comma. It should be really full stop and a new sentence. You're starting to talk about, what's your new...
No, because it's all one sentence, isn't it? It's all pertaining to the same woman, isn't it? It's not like...
Yeah, it might be, but the grammar's just fucking all over the...
Yeah, I mean, why didn't they say something like a woman who claims her brother was a doctor treating coronavirus patients in London, right, and whose sister was performing surgery at the time, said in a statement, comma, that she was seriously pissed off by the clips.
Why don't you work with the mail?
To be honest,
yeah,
I could have just said one woman whose brother is a surgeon and sister is a nurse or whatever it was, is pissed off by these clips.
Yes.
Why do they need all the extra fluff and guff? I think it's just, I reckon they're paid by the bloody word, aren't they?
No, it's because they've got so many words they have to put in an article. So they just bulk it out with, meaningless drivel. So they might have to do 500 or whatever it is.
It's because all of these people have done journalism at Salford. And they just literally, they're taught to waffle on in an essay for 3,000 words because they've got to hit the word limit. And most of it is just a load of nonsense.
Yeah, I am getting a sort of GCSE English feel when you're trying to crack out like a 1,200 word essay or something. And, you can't be asked doing it properly. So you just put like a paragraph about the weather in to set the scene or something. Just to shoehorn it in there.
Do you not mean you're getting the 7-year-old doing basic English vibe from this?
It's sort of got that that sort of IQ 90 feel to it. Is it just me? Is it just like I just look at that?
This is like a question in like a set 2 English exam where it's like correct the grammar in this article.
Yeah.
Rewrite this sentence so it makes sense.
Yeah.
God's own prototype in chat has got a few things to say about it. Third time from the top, full marks, I think. And at the bottom, he said, "No, it's a sentence that's been rewritten too many times on a laptop and not read through properly afterwards." Yes, I agree.
Dissident
re-edited it.
Dissident says they've got the BBC Pidgin English team writing their articles. One woman whose brother was treating coronavirus patients in London and sister was performing surgery said she was seriously pissed off by the clips. Yeah, that actually makes sense. You can read it in an African voice.
I assume you've already done it, but I'm seeing this horrible food crimes section you've done, and one of them looks like it looks like a chopping board with I assume that's either mayonnaise or butter, 2 slices of toast on it, and what looks like a skid mark.
Oh, you're talking about about yesterday's when we were looking at the Rate My Plate arts and thing. Is that what you're looking at, Hobbit?
Yeah, it's the people that go, "Oh, I don't like putting food on plates because there's just
I know which one you're on about.
With centuries of convention. Oh yeah, because plates are so boring, aren't they? They serve the same food that serve out the fucking clog on iron."
Do you not fancy a chocolate dessert in a bedpan, Hobbit? Would that not be appetising to you, mate?
It's one thing for somebody like the pork pie murderer to do something abusive in the comfort of his own home, but these people are paying to be subjected to these food crimes. I tell you what.
What do you think to that mug that's got no handle on it and that's got that fucking weird sticky out handle?
3rd degree burns.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I'm Minister of Agriculture, I will be instituting firing squads for these egregious crimes against food.
So you won't allow skid marks on chopping boards then?
I won't allow skid marks on chopping boards. I will not allow you to serve meat out of an iron.
I like this one. What should we serve the food on? Plates. Marketing 2, boring. Marketing 1, wooden boards. Marketing 2, we're not hipsters. How about inside a drawer? Excellent.
I mean, there's this one here which looks like a hollowed out willy with 2 bollocks on it, and it's got some pate on it, and it's served with a basket of toasted baguette.
It's probably cotton pate.
Yes. Because the thing I want to be reminded of...
It looks like steak tartare, whatever it is. It don't look like it's cooked properly, does it?
Oh, it's supposed to be a hollowed out femur, so I guess that's the ball and socket joint, or at least the ball from the socket.
My favourite is the chicken tikka stairs with the chutney cupboard. just the chutney cupboard,
You've seen that one, Hobbit? The chicken tikka staircase and chutney cupboard.
I'll repost it in Doodling Pad.
No, The one I'm looking at right now is the description's quite accurate. Audience, what I'm looking at here is a tin of sardines with some crisps on the side, served on a slate. You know, the sort of thing you'd see on the roof somewhere. And the caption reads, "When you order fish and chips, but the chef's decided he's quitting in the morning and can't be asked." What the fuck is this? Chocolate in a bedpan with what?
Fucking hell.
We want places the best Twitter account, best Twitter account on Twitter. Best Twitter account.
I mean, it looks like two bits of. I assume that's either a pink souffle or pate and some biscuits, and it's served on a book. It's like a ratty old fucking book that's been dog-eared. Oh, it's a VHS tape. Oh my god. Right, okay. Not only will I be Minister of Agriculture, but I'll be taking to the Minister of Foreign Affairs and just saying, "Can we flog the Canadians?"
If you open the We Want Plates Twitter, there's a tweet from October the 20th, 2017. "Welcome to the Michael Jackson fan convention. Enjoy the buffet. Thanks. I'm starting with the ham on the mirror."
Yeah. Oh no.
Oh, great. Really?
Last time I did a blood test, it was 129/80, which I'm told is normal, but that's a bit too high for my liking.
I'm disappointed. I'm actually disappointed in you for making that gag.
That's not a gag. They're actually serving ham on a mirror. What the fuck?
I can't look at this stuff anymore. Fucking strawberries in an ashtray. I need to click off right now. This is not doing my health any good.
This is my favourite one. "Your tuna starter, sir. Lunges at cube. Cat puts tuna into cognac impales eye on spike."
It's just like the hipster thing, is it? He's our hipster restaurant.
Yeah, it's We Want Plates on Twitter, Mosley. It's one of my favourite fucking things. Hi,
scroll down and look at the Red Bull sorbet.
Hi, we asked for the bill. We brought it. Where is it? Under the raspberries. Under the raspberries is a rock. Yeah, your bill's under the rock.
No.
Would you like your egg boiled or poached or scrambled? Boiled and balanced on a 15mm isolating ball valve, please. These fucking people. I'm at a prawn on a telephone. It's
just... Do these restaurants actually like stay in business, or is it just like bad businesses? Because
they mustn't.
Yeah, I know they can't be in business for long.
I'm hoping these are all the businesses getting looted and destroyed, because I'd be fine with that.
I doubt it. It's probably the decent restaurant to serve proper grub that's getting absolutely pissed.
Yeah. It'll only be these places that are open.
Well, there's nothing there to rob, is there? Really? I suppose you go into one of those, you get a telephone with a bit of salmon on
it. Your chicken tikka staircase. And about 2 dozen.
Home, you think you've had all the chicken tikka. You open the chutney cupboard. Oh yeah, help treat.
A bonus.
I'm to a winner here, lad.
Oh dear, what was the one I was looking at? Somebody wanted me to look for.
Has anyone here ever had right? And I know that it's like a couple of things you do for cocktails, but has anyone here ever like ordered a half from a pub and got it in a jam jar?
No, I haven't been to a hipster pub.
Yeah,
no.
It was in London. Yeah. I was in London on something in the centre, and they gave it in this jam jar, and I looked at her, right, and she looked at me, and I'm like, I think there's a problem with my pint. She's like, what? It's in a jam jar. And she says, well, yeah, we serve it in jam jars. And I sort of like, well, I did pay £4 for this half. So if you could put it in a proper glass for me, that'd be really nice.
Did it have mouldy bits of marmalade run in the bottom?
Have you seen the eating off tables thing, Cappy?
What?
Where they literally put your dinner out and it's straight on the table. Have you not seen this?
What, like beans on the floor, like Steinbeck, mice and men?
Yeah.
Mate, hold on, Cappy, did you watch that video as well on YouTube of the guy eating nothing but beans for like 90 days?
Oh yeah, Miles, what's his tip?
Yeah, that was really good.
I say I watched that bloke religiously. He's actually really decent.
Oh yeah, look
proper wholesome shit.
I'm disgusted with what you're sharing on YouTube, Hemi. That's you will be an accessory.
Food on a table.
How about this? Mug of chips on a bum paddle served to a 5-year-old. A 5-year-old now covered in beans. Oh dear. How about your tacos in a plant? You seen that? In a fucking plant pot.
This isn't a vase, and you have to dig it right at the bottom.
Fucking hell.
It's all, I hate all gimmicky stuff. It's like when they give you, like, if you go somewhere that's like supposedly fancy, and they give you like cocktails in like a tin can.
I like that. No, I haven't seen that. I like that. Do you remember that one Mickey Flanagan where he's talking about going to a restaurant with a missus? And he says he asks for some sauce, gets it in a little tiny ramekin, he drinks it and says, that's lovely, thank you, I'll have the bottle.
That's grim.
Oh dear. Would you buy whiskey in a capsule, Cappy?
No.
That's Glenlivet. Glenlivet are doing like Tide Pod fucking whiskey capsules.
I'm never buying from them again.
I was just going to say, I've got a bottle of Glenlivet 12 on the shelf, and no.
I've seen it was on the.
That's another one. There's a Scotch egg with a skid mark there.
I saw on Rain Mears. He was doing like a bushcraft in Africa, and they went to a shop for provisions, and he found this knockout rum, and it was sachets of rum, like a packet. You tore open, you got one serving of rum.
Yeah.
Which I thought was like a sensible idea, I suppose.
Well,
how about this one? Chips in a plant pot, so when you put the vinegar on, it pours straight out the bottom.
There was, Hobbit, like, until, I think it was still like 2008, the French army used to have brandy in their rations, like the little MREs. They'd have like a little tube of brandy.
The Italians still do. They've got a plastic sachet of, I think it's called cordial or convivial, and it's like
Steve 1989 at mreinfo.com.
Oh, defo.
Yeah. I'll just put that out there.
He's the best ASMR like channel, because you just like I like to put him on when I'm going to sleep, and him being like, "Oh yeah, let's get this out on a tray." Nice.
Nice.
Here's a question for you. I'll put.
Nice hit.
I'll copy this one on a fucking sec.
When they do stuff like that, it makes me realise that if I was to be in the armed forces, I'm either going for the Italians or the French.
I'll put this one. How do you guys answer this question then? Do you A, drink the beans, B, tip them on the slate, or C, use the sausage as a spoon?
C.
In doodling part.
I'm going to go D and do what my granddad would do in that situation, where you go pull the waitress over and go, "Can I get that on an actual plate?" I'm not eating it like that. My granddad does that all the time. We go to like a local like kind of like pub, and it's like an independent one, and they do those sizzler ones, the cast iron on the chopping board thing.
Yeah.
And he always goes, "And can we get them on a plate, please? I don't want to have to deal with this shit."
I mean, I was going to say option D. Do you want to fight?
Yeah.
Do you want to fight?
Then what you do, the Chad maneuver is you literally just pour all the beans all over the slate, just eat it messily, and then you're like, "Can you wipe my table up for me?"
Yeah.
If only we had an invention to stop this from happening.
Yeah, that's one of the tweets on here. If only someone had invented some sort of lipped device to stop all the food slopping off the side.
How are you going to stick a fucking table in the dishwasher?
Right, take some Valium, son. Come on, calm down.
You seen this one? Due to circumstances beyond all our control, all meals will be served on plates. We apologise if this spoils your experience.
Yeah, I always want my food on a fucking table. Yeah.
Or you ever seen the one with the jelly on the tampon? Not the tampon, the jelly on the panty pad.
No.
Oh,
that's on here somewhere.
Don't.
That's almost as bad as that episode of Jackass where they put chocolate on a nappy and stick it in a bin.
Yeah.
And then they lick it when people go
past. Can we please talk about anything else?
Other than gross food.
I tell you what.
Literally.
One of my pet hates is when you go around a friend's house and they make you a cup of tea and then they hand you the cup like 1,000 degrees Celsius and expect you to hold on to it with nowhere to put the cup and you get like 3rd-degree burns. That's happened to me recently.
But when that happens, I put it on the floor.
Yeah, I know, but the thing is, when it's a new carpet, and I'm thinking if I spill like this tea all over his brand new carpet, I might get a bill for a couple of grand or something. I'm thinking.
It's also then when that happens, it's always not a good cup of tea either.
Yes, that's right. Yep.
And you're there like, oh no, I've got to wait for this to cool, and then I've got to kind of neck it.
Yep.
And it's going to be awful the whole time I'm doing it.
And then I got to visit A&E on the way back home because my hands are blistering, from 3rd-degree burns, and it's yeah.
I got a burn from a plate in a steak restaurant once. We're in the Netherlands, and literally we're in a steak restaurant. Guy hands me the plate. I go to keep it, and he didn't even warn me that it's hot. I take it, go ow, set it down, and then genuinely for like the next couple of days, I had like a proper serious like blister burn on my thumb.
Yeah, isn't it like a 2nd-degree burn or something?
Yeah, it's just like he didn't even warn me. I was like, how are you carrying these out?
He must have like metal hands. What's it like?
These asbestos hands.
Asbestos hands. That's it. Yeah, he must have something in there. It's strange how some people can actually, hold on to like a cup and it's like red hot. You know what I mean? I put my hand on it. I'm like,
maybe he was holding onto a part of the plate that wasn't as hot as the bit you touched. Probably. Maybe it was resting up against something.
You probably saw this English bloke in the restaurant.
I'm one of those people. When they bring the plate out and say the plate's hot, I always have to touch the plate to see if it is hot.
Oh, you've got
it. Yeah, that was hot.
And then do you normally say aloud to everyone, "Ooh, it's hot."
It's hot.
I've never understood people who do that. So they say, "Oh yeah, the plate's hot," and it's like, "Oh yeah, I've just got to touch it." Why? Because they're lying to you.
Sometimes they do lie though when it's like bone cold. It's like, hang on a minute, fucking lying to me, son. And then you get, because there is, restaurants when they do that, it's bad because, obviously, they'll put it on a cold plate, then they'll put your dinner on it, and then they'll leave it on the side for like 5 minutes. So when it eventually gets to you, it's like chips are like lukewarm, and then everything else on the plate is literally cold, and it's not a nice experience. They should have them hot pretty much, but having worked.
That's like every Sizzler restaurant that I've ever been to.
Are they the blue? Are they the ones with the blue colour scheme? Aren't they? The Sizzler on the outside.
I've no idea. They've got. I just know the Sizzler restaurant. I don't know because my mate's local is a Sizzler restaurant and it's crap, and the food's always cold.
They do like buffets and stuff, don't they? Or eat as much as you like. Job.
I don't know. To be honest, I've only eaten there like probably twice, and I never would again.
Yeah.
Unless rice comes out straight away, you just fucking avoid it like the plague. Otherwise, you'll have the trots next couple.
Oh god, yeah.
Because people, honestly, mate, people don't realise that because rice, when it starts to cool down, it creates like these pores on it. I had that once. It's fucking horrendous.
Yeah, unless you put it, the only thing to do is unless you put it straight in the fridge and then heat it up later.
If you cook rice, you fully cook it, then you wash it with really cold water, and then you stick it straight in the fridge, like you say, and then it's fine. But if you leave it out on the side and then try and eat it, you're asking for a bit of trouble. A lot of people don't know it. It's like they just eat it. I mean, most people get away with it, but if it's been out there a little while, it can turn fucking really nasty, which it did for me once. It wasn't a pleasant experience. And having seen that in restaurants, like leaving plates of rice on the side for like 10 minutes, I'm like, no, I'm not in here. I'm going to go and find another place to eat. Just poor practice from people who don't know what they're doing in the kitchen, which happens a lot. You'll be surprised how often people work.
Well, that's the thing. It's like all about standards. It's like a lot of these jobs now. They're kind of undervalued, aren't they? It's like, oh, we'll just let the fucking Polak do it. But like decent service and stuff like that. It's like a proper, like every job you need to be good at. Like most jobs you need to be good at, and that's one of them you need to be good at, isn't it?
When you work in the kitchen, people don't realise. You know what I mean? The actual. All the fucking red tape there is, and if you do your job properly, it's not an easy job because there's so much you have to get right, checking temperatures, you know what I mean, not dropping beneath certain temperatures. You've got, that food can only be served at this, that, and the other, and like you say, service as well. Service is abominable in most places. You ask for a drink, and about 20 minutes later, they come back and they've forgotten about you and stuff like that.
Especially when you're somewhere like free refills, you hardly ever fucking see them, do you?
No, that's right. I mean, you got unlimited chips, and then you keep asking for them about 10 times, and you might get some horrible portion that comes out, and you don't think, well, that wasn't really worth the effort. Chasing you up for that like 10 times. But,
I love how that it does make me smile. How a lot of I don't know, maybe not amongst sort of working class, but a lot of sort of middle class guys I know fucking really shit on Weatherspoons. They fucking hate it, and yet I said for most of the spoons that I've been to, and I've probably been to about 25 of them, like different outlets over my time, and I can't actually say that I've had like food turn up late. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where a lot of people.
It's just standard grub, isn't it? When you go to the you're not expecting gourmet, food. What you get is a good, like almost like a wholesome, steak and chips, burger and chips. I don't know, gammon or whatever else.
Well, here's one of the things I'll say about that. Two things. One is that my local spoons. Yeah, it is my local spoons. Does a very good pizza, and I was talking with a French bloke who lives in England. He says Weatherspoons is one of the unsung champions of British cuisine.
Yeah, to be fair, it's good for what it is. It's good value, and it's you can't knock it really. If it's the service is good, you know what I mean. It is what it is, isn't it? You know what I mean.
And the fact that you've got, like I said, if it is really fucking busy at the bar, I said if you've got a smartphone, you can just go and sit and order on the app. So it means that you can actually bagsy a table and you don't have to queue for fucking hours.
But I love the fight to the bar, mate. I love the elbow.
Oh, yeah, I don't have the app. I don't agree with that. I've got it. At least let me keep some pub traditions of line up at a bar and fighting. And then when they're like, "Who's next?" You jostling like with some old boy. You're like, "Oh no, you're first. Oh, I think you were first. Oh, it's all part of the community."
Yeah, I do like it though, but then some bird turns up with big tits and gets ordered served first. Even though
and she always takes 15 fucking minutes to order a drink.
Can we get what wine do you do? Do you do shots? It's like you've got drinks when you're out in front of your love. Take 2 minutes, have a look at it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. There's always one every night you go to a pub.
To be honest though,
do you remember that Findom? Do you remember that Findom story we did about spoons? Findom, which is like financial domination, where these bitches they just sit in fucking spoons. They tweet or whatever out to their followers, and they say, "I'm at table so and so in such and such pub," and get to buy them stuff on the spoons app.
Yeah,
they fucking won't really.
I remember that story. Yeah.
But the thing is, the best is when you get blokes doing that, because then people just start sending them like basically like tubs of peas and like just a side of mayo.
But there was that one where somebody sent that coon a banana, didn't they?
Oh yeah, that's where the story came from, wasn't it? Yeah.
No, that was separate stories.
Happened.
Oh, was it?
That's happened to me in spoons before. I was literally
sent you a banana.
With my band. No, it's the people sending me shit through the menu.
Is that because you're black, Cappy? Is that?
Yeah, because like we've met each other. Yeah. I'm definitely black, but then again, you're a package, so it's sort of even down, but yeah, so I sat at a fucking table in spoons, right? And I'm with like my drummer and a couple of other guys from a band, right? And we're just drinking, and this fucking like 2 packets of biscuits get sent over. I'm like, what the fuck? And then an hour later, another 2 packets of biscuits, and then another 2 packets of biscuits for like on the hour for like every 4 hours to this table that we were at. And we were looking around trying to find who it was, and we asked all the blokes to the point where, like, get your phones out, want to see message history. And it wasn't. Some bloke's just been sending biscuits to our table for like 5 hours.
Do you think there's someone in the next town over going, "Where the fuck are my biscuits?"
It probably was.
Yeah, because that's the thing. We can think of that they picked the table number. They've just hit the wrong restaurant.
Yeah. Yes, could be.
Yeah. So I reckon that's what's going on. But
it could be the same name but a different town, and they haven't fucking checked it properly.
Yes. Right.
Oh yeah. But when I was at uni in Sheffield, there was 2 spoons literally across the road from one another. It was great.
I'll meet you in the spoons at 7:30.
Yeah.
And which one?
But the funniest thing as well is there was a Yates's in between the 2 of them.
Oh god.
Yates's like wine bar. Fucking hell, I ain't been to one of those in a while. Jesus.
That
takes me back.
Time.
They're not really around much these, and they're not even wine bars anymore. They're just called Yates's, and they do like shit cocktails.
I was going to say, I remember Yates has got taken over by Spoons in Oxford.
Similar sort of business, I suppose, these days.
Yeah, I think the Yateses in my local town got took over by Spoons as well.
Apparently, though, I think they're linked with some Marston pubs as well. I think it's a similar brewery and supply chain, which is mad.
But Yateses actually banned people with caps from coming in, didn't they? Baseball caps.
Really?
Yeah, that was like years ago.
I know at least the one when I was at uni that banned people from wearing like sportswear for like team shirts.
What, too many fights?
Probably.
Hobbit, do you want to do the story that you put in about chimps smacking their lips together to talk to each other?
Oh, yeah, I wasn't sure if that was Grub Glory or 14 Times content.
I think you decided you wanted to do it on here, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, okay. But I don't have the story in front of me. So, suffice to say, chimps smack their lips in mimicry of talking, and they vocalise that.
I.O. smacks lips.
They kiss their teeth and they screech really loudly. And they found out that when chimps are in contact with human beings, when they're in the zoo or a job centre, the lip smacking tends to be more rapid, mimicking the chattering of human speech. So if we could observe chimps in the wild, we'd notice that the lip smacking movements are slower. Yeah. And I'm definitely not talking about Africans, although chimps are Africans. So I am talking about Africans. They smack their lips together.
All right, Tintin, we get it.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
What's his dog called?
Yeah, what is his dog called?
Oh fucking hell, we're not doing the dog bit again. I forgot you were doing a bit, weren't you? Do you remember we did fucking at least half an hour on what fucking Tintin's dog's called? Because Hobbit, because he's a foreigner, thinks it's something else and it's Snowy.
Yeah. It's named after Hergé's girlfriend called Milu.
Her name was Snowy. He had a girlfriend called Snowy. That's a bit weird, isn't it?
He had a girlfriend called Milu.
He had a girlfriend called Snowy. What are you talking about? Hobbit, his dog's name's Snowy.
So in order to honour my girlfriend, I've literally named one of the characters in my book. The dog.
I've called him Snowy after you.
Because you're a dog.
Oh dear. Did you see the end to the Dominic Cummings saga? The end is Dominic Cummings may have committed a minor breach of lockdown rules, but no further action is needed, Durham police said today.
Oh,
so
what? It turned out in the end it was a media shit show. What a shock!
No.
Shocker.
Don't believe that for a second.
I like how they were like, yeah, he may have done a minor breach, but he committed no crimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but none of the lockdown is a crime. It's just fucking purely guidelines.
Yeah.
The only one is social distancing is actually enforceable by like fines, isn't it? Or am I making things up here?
Well, I don't know.
Well, apparently, if you listen to, everybody should listen to Crime Bodge, but Crime Bodge has said that you're probably going to be able to get your fine money back, because what they've done is they've gone by the COVID rules, but the COVID rules are part of a Parent Act. But what the COVID rules, what the police have done in handing out fines is they've stepped outside the confines of the Parent Act, which is the act that carries the weight behind it.
You mean modern police have actually abused their position?
Yeah, well, I fucking never.
The only thing sad about that, I really wanted them to just use all the CCTV that's all over London to basically just face track all these protesters and just send automatic fines to the homes. If they'd at least done that, that'd have been brilliant. Like all of a sudden, you get a bunch of left.
It's funny they're just not able to do that, are they? It's I know we're the most surveilled country in the world. Yeah, they just aren't able to use it for anything, are they?
Oh, it's shocking. That would have been great.
Yeah.
Yeah. But meanwhile, if you're walking your dog in the Peak District, on the other hand, oh, sonny boy, you're getting a note on your car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're getting a note on your car.
Following you about.
And if your child's ill, your boss has had COVID, and you think you might be getting COVID, God help you if you don't go and drop your kid off with your fucking with its grandparents. Fucking hell, that's just like should be punishable by death, shouldn't it?
Yep.
But then again, who was it here that said about the last riot that they had about the water cannons with dye in it?
No,
so it's like any.
Yeah, I think I mentioned it in China during the Hong Kong protest. They have water cannons with dye in it. That's just basically it'll like stain anyone's clothing, so you can tell in the riot, but also it'll kind of stain the skin for like a couple of days afterwards. So when it's all died down, if people are out and about and they're looking a bit like blue dyed, the police just go, "Oh, hello there, you're nicked, sunshine."
Nicked. Nice. Good old Chinese.
You always rely on the Chinese.
Yeah. Yeah, so Dissident Thought says, I hate non-regulars that don't know how to order in spoons. It's not rocket science. When you're at the front, it's not the time to ask what they do.
Do you serve alcohol?
God's own.
Do you serve alcohol?
Yeah. Do you sell beer?
No. So how long have you been in business then?
I've got a 15-question journalism report I need to type up by the morning. Yeah. Some
God's Own says Jamie Oliver's chain had the worst service. Hasn't that gone bust now, Jamie Oliver's chain?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Different parts of it, wasn't it? It wasn't just. It was different. He's got.
It's the Italian. Is it the Italian that went under?
It's the Italian one. It's gone bust. Yeah. I'm surprised the left haven't gone after him.
Dissident says the pizzas are good at spoons. You can agree with that one, can't you,
I've heard that from a number
They are
of people.
very good. I always have the pizzas at spoons. It's because they're really cheap and they come with a drink. So
do you want to do
like
some more? Do you want to do some more stories, or do you want to do another quiz?
Oh, I've got a quiz later on. I'd prefer to wait for after that. Do a couple more stories.
Okay. Right, what else have we got? Man dies. Oh, this is the one you wanted to do, Hobbit. Man dies while trying to eat 50 hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah. So somebody tried to recreate Cool Hand Luke, but it wasn't very cool. You dying like a bitch.
What?
An impromptu and ill-advised egg-eating competition in India. Oh, fucking hell. How could that happen in India? Recently resulted in the death of a 42-year-old man. According to reports...
Did he have egg on his face? Was his colon scrambled?
Hold on, I'm trying to say his fucking name. Subhash Yadav and his friend had been at the Bibiganj market in the Jampura district of Uttar Pradesh when they had an argument. When they had an argument, decided the best way to resolve. What? It's Uttar Pradesh.
Uttar Pradesh.
Hemi, this entire article needs some Ganja Rasta music in it because you've mentioned two references to Ganja so far.
When they had an argument, they decided the best way to resolve their differences was to challenge one another to eat 50 hard-boiled eggs. The winner of this bizarre contest would receive a paltry $28. That wouldn't even cover the fucking eggs, would it? Things have been going fine upon attempting to eat his 42nd egg. Yadav collapsed on the spot. He was rushed to the Sanjay Gandhi Postgraduate Institute of Medical Sciences. Ain't there one of them in London?
Oh, I think I've just half read one of the sentences later on. It's going to crease me up.
It turned out he had died from complications due to overeating dozens of eggs.
No.
Who'd have thought it? Oh, this isn't the first time something like this has happened either. Back in 2012, a 20-year-old Tunisian man named Dahu Fatnassi died after attempting to eat 28 raw eggs. Ugh. God, I can't stand raw eggs.
Have you ever seen that video of the guy upside down eating like 30 raw eggs out of a tube?
Oh,
why?
No.
Why would you do that?
That's a good question.
Why would you watch that? How do you find that? What? But that's horrible.
Here we are.
Ugh. No, don't post that.
Are these
Don't
people
fucking
like,
post. No, I don't want to see that. That's horrible.
Have they won the Darwin Awards then? You know the Darwin Awards?
Yeah.
They've won the Darwin Awards.
What else have we got here then? Yeah, we know what the Darwin Awards are, Hobbit.
Yeah, they've won it.
Oh yeah, literally, this guy upside down drinks 52 raw eggs. So I mean, what? Chad's obviously just be Indians in this.
Oh,
have you heard?
Why would you want to eat raw egg?
Have you heard Emily Maitlis is in this shit? Emily Maitlis overstepped the mark, says BBC in new statement on Cummins' row. BBC said Maitlis's Newsnight monologue was wrongly suggested that everyone in the country shared the same views on Dominic Cummins. BBC has doubled down on its censure of Emily Maitlis by saying she'd overstepped the mark in her Newsnight monologue after the corporation was flooded with complaints about her treatment. Initially, the BBC released a... I've only got half of the article. By Thursday afternoon, at least 20,000 people had contacted the BBC to complain. Some were objecting to Miss Maitlis's speech, because obviously you know what religion she is. But the majority are thought to have been criticising the BBC's handling of the affair. Supporters had circulated a link on social media to the BBC complaints website. What do you think to the way the BBC have been going ham at it then?
BBC just have law onto themselves, aren't they? They seem to,
they're just
but
they sort of do something, and they know they've overstepped the mark, and they know what they're doing is absolute bullshit. And then if it comes to bite them in the ass, they just apologise and move on, don't they? So
yeah,
it's no skin off their noses.
Need to find some way to punish them, because like financially, there's no way to punish them because they don't really give a shit because. The money just falls on there.
Yeah, but you could turn around to them and say we're going to axe all your channels, but then everyone would celebrate. So is there a way of punishing the BBC?
Yeah,
I think they just need to sack her and any of the editors that basically wrote that script. Basically, to say, one strike, you're out.
I think they should just sack everyone in the BBC and then everyone can fuck off, can't they? Because it's just,
especially editorial. I mean, editorial need to go. They're all fucking shit libs, and the problem is the BBC trains most of the media as well. So then they go off into jobs at Sky, and they're all fucking shit libs as well at Sky, aren't they? Because they've all been trained at the BBC.
Oh, worse is Channel 4 though.
I don't know, because Sky News is pretty fucking bad. You know, when I go around my old man's house, I don't really watch TV news here, but he has it on sometimes.
What's that?
Adam Bolton.
What's that ugly Jewess with the red lipstick? She's fucking awful, isn't she? The main report, it's like her and Kay Burley are the two main reporters, aren't they?
Kay Burley, she's just got one of those fucking obnoxious faces, and she thinks she's superior to everybody else.
Yeah,
so you criticize her, and she just sneers at you, doesn't she?
Oh, Beth Rigby. Is it Beth Rigby?
I think so. I think that name does ring a bell.
Yeah, she's fucking awful as well, isn't she?
Channel 4's an abomination, because isn't Channel 4 partly funded by her?
I'm not quite sure how the funding works.
It gets teletax money, and it does advertising. Yeah. And it's like BBC on steroids now. And in fact, there has been a few occasions where Channel 4 and BBC have collaborated on projects. The last one I remember was Blue Lazarus, which was like a very bizarre science fiction thing. It was quite unpleasant too.
I think they collaborate on some films as well, don't they? Like Film 4 and BBC Films, because I know there's subdivisions of each kind of company, and I know Film 4 still exists and produces some films, and I have seen, at the beginning when there's 10,000 producers. BBC Films, Channel 4 in association with X, Y, and Z. I know.
Yeah, because
BBC do some projects.
BBC do it in association with Netflix as well, don't they?
Oh yeah, they did. I know that BBC have done a few programs that Netflix have picked up though. So like Netflix have just, BBC have decided to drop, like The Last Kingdom was a program. They dropped it. The BBC did, because it was like a joint collaboration. And then they decided they didn't want to fund it anymore, so Netflix just took it on, and then it's solely a Netflix project. But they do work. They do work with other. To be honest, but I find that conflict of interest, and I find that kind of like so revenue from films and things like that. How does that work? Because supposedly, if there's any advertising within a project, shouldn't that negate the BBC because they're supposed to be a competition that doesn't allow advertising? So I know they've laxed the
as
rules.
well. They're giving a private corporation's TV series a boost, aren't they? Like you say, with that whatever that Kingdom thing was.
The Last Kingdom, yeah.
Yeah, so they started up. They get hype from the BBC, so then the series carries on after they've had hype from the BBC.
Yes, I think they're a contradiction. They must break numerous rules with regard to how they're supposed to operate.
Yeah,
nobody can be bothered to even come down on them. So I imagine there are people within Parliament who don't, not many, but I can imagine there's a few which don't like the way the BBC act and stuff like that.
There's absolutely tons within the Conservative Party. Genuinely, there are moves within Tories to basically scrap the license fee and make it like a subscription service that people can opt in or out of.
Wouldn't that be great, eh?
And genuinely, there's so much, especially after this Cummins debacle, there's a lot, at least like sort of pro-Cummins faction within the party who are very much like, the BBC needs to pay for some of this. I mean, when you got people like Kunzenberg, like obviously she's very partisan as well. So's Pest, and so's most of them. They're all entirely at least anti-conservative, anti-right in their partisanship.
Well, Peston's ITV now, so so like I said before, their cancer just infects everywhere, doesn't it?
Who's that goggly-eyed bald bloke who does the politics?
Oh, with the mustache.
No, is it Nick? Nick something.
Oh, Nick Robinson, isn't he?
Yes.
He
used to be a communist.
He either is or was the head of BBC News, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Isn't that fucking Kussenberg?
Wasn't he?
Kussenberg, is that her name?
She's chief political editor for the BBC.
Yeah, she is, isn't she? Because I think he stepped aside, didn't he, Nick Robinson?
Yeah, he was.
Well, he got throat cancer, didn't he?
Yeah.
Did he? Oh, okay.
Speaking of going for a fag, back in 3.
I know he was an open commie at university, and a lot of them are.
They fucking all were, weren't they?
Yeah. It's an appalling. The worst thing is, to be honest, Sky and Channel 4 to a degree can do what the fuck they want. They can carry on because the BBC is a state-funded organisation, and they should be under so much scrutiny compared to other organisations because of the fact that they are under state payment. Yet it seems to be less than everybody else.
Yeah, they just seem to do whatever they want, don't they? It's like they got their own little fiefdoms. And
that's what fucking annoys me. Yeah, they just create their own rules.
All I say is just don't pay a license fee. At the end of the day, you just don't pay it.
Yeah, but that's not good enough. It's kind of sidestepping the problem, isn't it? But the BBC needs fixing, and somebody needs to put the big boy pants on, go down to the BBC and tell the BBC what's what, rather than asking the BBC what's what.
Mm.
I mean, the BBC didn't always used to be it's never been perfect, but it didn't used to be a complete liberal shit show. I mean, it's never been fantastic.
I mean, Question Time. What is Question Time? It's not. What is it?
It's ridiculous. Why are the Lib Dems included every single time? They're a minority party.
Yeah. I mean, they always moan, don't they? They always moan that there's too many Brexiters or right wingers on it. And then you look at it and think, Labour, Lib Dem, Conservative. Maybe UKIP.
Well,
then you look.
Every
and then
week,
you look at the
every week you look, and if you go by voting Remain or Leave as a yardstick, because it's probably the easiest one to use. Every week you never get more. You would never see 3 Remainers on the panel.
No,
but
it's always like 4.
Sorry, you'll never see 3 Leavers on the panel, but you'll always see at least 3, maybe sometimes 4 Leavers, won't you?
You see that coming story, mate. Carry on.
Even with that, then you'll see a Tory like MP there who they'll go, well, we've need to deliver Brexit, but actually, well, I didn't vote for it myself, and it's because it's always like a Remain Tory as well.
Yeah,
you see, it comes back to me for the Nick Griffin debacle all those years ago because he came under. He wasn't good on the show, but the problem was he was kind of like a poison chalice because if he went on the show, he was going to get shit on from a great height.
But it was a really shit episode. Most of it consisted of you love Hitler, you love Hitler, you love Hitler, and that's literally all it was.
He had to keep defending himself, and he got criticised for it. But I don't know where else he could have gone with it, to be honest. Because if he hadn't gone on the show, they would have said he was a coward. And at the time, the BNP, I think, had 100 councillors or something. I read, or they had a lot of. They were a growing party. The website was the most visited political party website in the country, and that was beating the Conservatives and Labour.
He did misstep a fair bit. I mean, what he should have done is he should have
Do you imagine he was a bit
stuck up for himself. He should have at least stuck up for himself.
The problem
which
is,
he didn't do.
The problem is with it is the fact that he had been on charges for denying a certain event during the second play. Yeah, and the problem is if he says the wrong thing, they could then say this is a case of him denying it again, and he could find himself in kind of hot water. And imagine he had a legal team saying, "Well, if you say this, you might get in trouble. If you say this, you might get in trouble. Don't say this for Christ's sake." Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what happened. I think it was kind of like he was so frightened to say anything to defend himself, because if he had done, then you're in a situation where you're like, am I going to touch on something that could land to be not just with a slap on the wrist, but like a criminal charge, which had happened to him, I know, previously before he began.
But how cocky with that panel. It was like, no, I'm more foreign than you are. No, I'm more foreign. I've got more foreign DNA in me than you have. No, I've got more foreign DNA in me than you have.
You see, he should have seen the panel and gone, I'm not doing it. You know, what you should have had was someone else from like more less right-leaning party, and then someone else a bit, and then towards the centre, and then the couple of lefties on there. So it was more of a balanced,
he let Bonnie Greer butt fuck him, that dumbass fucking yank who knows fuck all about anything.
Again, it probably goes back to the fact he was probably fucking nervous about the whole thing.
Yeah.
And the fact was it 5-1, plus the presenters, you know, come clearly on the side of everybody else.
Yeah.
They're not on the side of Nick Griffin. He was basically like standing in a room with people lobbing fucking like shooting paintballs at him, weren't they? Do you know what I mean?
But it definitely breached impartiality rules, because there was no way that was impartial.
Massive.
But again, it needs somebody to get the big boy pants on and go, look, BBC, we've given you chance after chance after chance to sort your act out. Now we get Govin, and he's going to sort your act out for you.
It needs stripping down from top to bottom.
Yeah,
100%, absolutely.
Yeah,
but they won't let that happen because they've all got cushy numbers. I mean, what's Gary Lineker on? £1.7 million a year or something fucking crazy. You know. Would you relinquish a job that paid you? Plus the fact he's on money from BT for doing, you know, Champions League football and whatever else he does. So, you know, he's got a right cushy little number there, hasn't he? Plus lots of them have got, you know, 7-figure paychecks. So I don't think they're going to relinquish it, you know, without a real fight. And that it's embedded in the establishment. It's been like that for a long time. So I'd love to see it, but I can't see the BBC being overhauled or being put to the sword for a fair long.
But that's what it needs. You need literally someone to the right of Adolf Hitler in there to steady the ship, don't you?
It just needs completely gutting, like you say. You know, perhaps a corporation that was in the best interest and was impartial. You don't mind a story. We're going to look at this story and we're going to say, right, we're not going to take either side. We're going to have two people, one from one side of the fence, one from the other, and you can debate it. And if it starts into a shouting match, we'll be the referee. That's what should happen, but it doesn't, because the referee then takes the side of, you know, the left, don't they, or the liberals, or whatever.
Yeah, it should be.
And having the referee
it should be. We're going to
have,
like, you know, you want this guest on. Well, you're going to have to have like Mark Collett on to like, you know, be the other side of that equation.
Yeah, balance the books, isn't it? So yeah, exactly. You need.
So the more extreme a person they pick, the more extreme person, you know, whoever's in charge picks. You go, right, you've got you're having Owen Jones again, right? You're having Laura Towler on as well, you know, something like that, you know, to balance it out, rather than just like all you get is left and slightly right of left, don't you?
I love. They should have had some big commie on against Griffin. That'd have been funny.
Yeah,
like some actual like Communist Party member.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's quite funny when you see what he tweets sometimes. You know, if he had been like that on Question Time, I think he would have been all right, because some of his stuff he puts out is generally quite funny. You know what I mean? He doesn't tend to try and be too serious. He tries to put like a funny spin on it. He's not a stupid bloke by any stretch of the imagination. So yeah, it's a shame it went wrong. But then again, it was a loaded dice, wasn't it? You know, at the end of the day, if it'd been on a channel which was impartial, I think you'd have fared a lot better. I think it would have been a much fairer fight, which is what we want to see, because there's no point having. What's the point of getting into? It's like getting into a boxing ring and having 3 boxers chasing you around the ring, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's not. It's supposed to be 1 versus 1 or 50-50 split down the middle, but it never is. I haven't watched Question Time for years, mate, because it used to piss me off when I was more.
Oh no, we're missing Lacey Marie streaming.
Oh no, we're not, are we? Tell you what, I'll tell you what we I did read that apparently Owen Jones was funding some of the Black Lives Matter protesters in America. I did read, so I don't know if any substance to that story.
Why am I not surprised? He comes from a very rich family, doesn't he?
Debated. I bet you he's donated to all these bailout funds for them.
Yeah, I think that's what the story.
Has anybody actually looked into Owen Jones' bio?
No, I don't. I think I actually have. You know.
So look,
how did he come about? You know, how did he get to where? The funniest one is when he walks out on that Sky News interview. That's quite fun. when he throws a temper tantrum, doesn't he, and he walks off.
It was all about gay people. It's like, well, part of it was about Islamic terror as well. But no, it was directly about gays.
Listen to his early life. I mean, for fuck's sake, surprise! I'm shocked at how he turned out the way he did. Jones was born in Sheffield, South Yorkshire, England, and grew up in Stockport, Greater Manchester, and briefly in Falkirk, Scotland. His father was a local authority worker and trade union shop steward, and his mother Ruth Aylett was an IT lecturer at the University of Salford. So she has her own wiki page as well. His mum does.
So the parents are unwed as well, she didn't take the name.
Oh, it looks like it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I didn't split. Yeah, I didn't.
I'm just gonna. Yeah, just leave that there.
Yeah, she's Professor of Computer Science at Heriot Watt University, Edinburgh, where she is also a member of the Edinburgh South Constituency Labour Party.
So you've got a shop steward who were the most radical of all lefties, especially during the 80s.
Yeah.
And then you've got, radical lefty academic.
Yeah, completely safe. Both completely safe in their jobs. That's how they can afford to have these shitty political views.
Sheffield, the Socialist Republic of South Yorkshire, as people locally like to call it.
He describes himself as a fourth-generation socialist. His grandfather was involved with the Communist Party, and his parents met as members of the Trotskyist militant group. And I think we know about the early life of his grandfather, though, because he's admitted it, hasn't he?
He's quite happy to tell you that I think his grandfather was at Cable Street. I think he's quite happy to.
Yeah.
Whenever the anniversary of Cable Street comes up, he tends to pop on my feed because someone.
It's funny they don't name his dad though. That's weird. They name his mother, but they don't name his dad. In an article Jones wrote following his father's death in 2018, he discussed his childhood in more detail, writing that his mother was a lifelong passionate feminist, and that his parents rejected blue and pink stereotyped clothing for the children and that kind of thing. And that the family also worked out a rota system for sharing domestic chores. Jones also said that their parents taught him and his siblings a passionate hatred of injustice and bigotry.
Everything's bigotry towards him, isn't it? Everything's bigoted, and he finds fault in something where there's absolutely no fault to find. He will try and sift through the cracks, won't he? I'm so glad I haven't seen anything from him recently, because people I follow haven't been retweeting him, thankfully, because I just find him.
I was blocked years ago by Jones. I think he was.
I haven't actually been blocked by
high-profile blockings.
The thing is, I've been blocked by that Dr. Louise Raw or whatever it was. Someone was tweeting her the other day. She was banging on about something, and I didn't even know why I've been blocked, because I don't ever remember engaging with her. Do you know what I mean? I tend to try and avoid the blue ticks because it generally ends in a spat, and then you getting a ban. So I thought to myself, well, I'll try and stay out of a fight with people like that. It's never a fair fight with them. You could beat them in a debate and they'll just report you.
So he went to Bramall High School and Ridge Daniers Sixth Form College before studying history at University College Oxford, graduating with a BA in 2005 and a Master of Studies in US History in 2007. Oh God, can you imagine what that US History class was like? How shit libby that was.
Oh, I bet that was fun.
Yeah, before entering journalism, Jones worked as a trade union lobbyist. I wonder how he got that job, and was a parliamentary researcher for the Labour Party MP John McDonnell. So there you go. These people, they're all. It's so fucking incestuous.
Do you know what? Do you know what really pisses me off though? For all the criticisms we have of Hitler and stuff like that, is the fact that this guy a couple of years ago, McDonnell, was stood there on May Day with a huge iron sickle flag behind him. I mean, it wasn't just like this little tiny flag, and there was people in the audience, and it had, he's open, like he's an open communist. I don't know if he's a Trotskyite or what. He's an absolute,
He calls himself a Marxist.
Is he a Marxist? Is it? I don't know. I find
on.
the guy an absolute arsehole. But they can stand in the streets of London, and they can openly support, what a regime that's, that was instrumental. We know even the Soviet regime was instrumental in so many deaths. You look at Ukraine, for Christ's sake. Yeah, you can't wave certain other flags without the fear of being arrested. In not that he'd want to necessarily, but so what gives him the right to stand? And then he tried to deny the fact that this flag was there, even though it's directly behind him, and there's tons of people in the audiences with this flag anyway.
Do you remember that bullshit with the wreath and Steptoe?
Oh,
yeah. What's the? I was there, but I didn't take a wreath, and he was pictured literally holding the wreath or something, didn't he?
But they're like, they don't seem to be aware that people are actually, filming, videoing them, taking pictures. They seem to be oblivious. It's like I think they're still living like 50 years ago, where they can just deny things.
Mate. You've got to keep in mind, right, that a lot of it is just power play. I said, because they can say, no, I wasn't holding the wreath.
Or
here's a picture of you holding the wreath. No, I wasn't holding the wreath.
Yeah,
it's something that I know is bullshit. You know is bullshit. And that that I know it's bullshit, but you have to sit here and nod along because there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
See, I don't know what's worse, mate, to be honest. Corbyn as leader, you know what I mean, and McDonald as his deputy, or the current regime, because to be honest, I see this Keir Starmer kind of like guy, more of a step towards the Blair kind of like government, not quite New Labour, because this like Labour government under Corbyn was a bit of a joke, and it proved that people kind of like rejected like their kind of like real communist ideals, because they got crushed at the general election. And it's kind of like you look at it and think, do we want a joke party like that where they're never going to get elected, or do we want someone who's now heading towards more of a like a Blair New Labour kind of thing? Because I think that's what they're heading towards, but a worse kind of like incarnation of that.
This is the thing. I mean, how many people would have voted for Jeremy Corbyn if he just ran on the exact same ticket that he did in the last election and just went, oh, but we're going to shut the borders?
Yeah.
The thing is,
the thing is, he doesn't want that, and his base don't want that. That's the thing. I mean, years ago,
he wants it. He wants it because he's
anti, EU. The thing is, they only do that for like this because of this like working class thing, but they actually don't care about working class in Britain.
No, Corbyn's an old school socialist. Old school socialists were racist as fuck, weren't they?
Yeah, but he never was. I mean, he was protesting apartheid. He was out there with all them. And the thing is, then think about it now. You've got all these women people around him, all these women like young guns and proper like new school socialists, who are these liberal, progressive, feminist socialists who are around him, whispering in his ear and making it think like this is entirely what all the rest of the Britain thinks it, and it's like, no, it isn't.
I'd probably argue to a degree that maybe Steptoe was held hostage because he's always been against the European Union because of his union priors. I don't know whether he was held hostage by Momentum. They were pretty aggressive, weren't they?
The thing is, he couldn't run on a. If the Conservatives are running on a thing saying we're going to deliver Brexit, and it was a kind of Brexit election, and what are Labour going to run on? Oh, we're going to deliver Brexit as well. So you're both going to deliver Brexit.
Yeah, but the irony is, if May had run under her ticket, and when it was May versus Steptoe, and Steptoe would have said, "I'm going to take you out of the European Union," he would have won that election, because no one believed May was going to take us out of the European Union.
Oh, she was just an absolute shit show.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only like Cappy says, it's only one tweak to his manifesto he had to make, and he would have won that election.
Strange, isn't it? Politics is a real kind of like.
Well, it's like Nigel Farage's timing in leaving UKIP. If Nigel Farage had stayed on 6 months, steadied the ship, got a new leader in place who was in his own image, UKIP probably would have looked at being the second party in England.
Yeah, you have to ask the big question, then, don't you?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
And who asked him or told him to step aside?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. I mean, UKIP were kind of like instrumental in destroying the BNP. which was kind of like that was an agenda.
And they were making inroads towards destroying Labour too, weren't they?
I mean, that's something we've had two parties in a decade, the BNP and UKIP. I know UKIP are not as right wing as the BNP, but we've had two parties which have made significant inroads in council and sorry, Carol.
Dissident said, believe it or not, Owen Jones is gay. He hides it well.
Well, who would have thought,
yeah, I just got one more interesting tidbit about Owen Jones. Owen Jones was hired by the left-wing historian Eric Hobsbawm to index and archive his papers. And have a guess what religion Eric Hobsbawm is. Can anybody guess?
Buddhist.
Correct.
Hindu.
Lifelong Marxist, his socio-political convictions influenced the character of his work. His best-known works include his trilogy about what he called the long 19th century.
Whatever you do, don't argue with a lefty over the Russian Revolution.
Yeah,
it's who influenced it. It's just
I do it all the time. I used to do that all the time in my scenes. It was great because it was one of these lefties that they've read a few books and then they realise about 15 minutes in that I'd actually studied the Russian Revolution.
Yeah,
and you just go to it and they'll ask you a question like, so after collectivization, you're not going to quote me that shit data that showed that production goes down, and then I just send them the screenshots of photos that were taken of official records maintained by the Politburo.
Mm-hmm.
About production going down. and then you'll be like, right, so are the Russians lying now?
Yeah,
the Politburo lying. Everyone's lying. Who can we trust? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Was it true that Lenin was in the British Museum when the revolution was taking place?
I don't know that off the top of my head. I'd have to look it up to be quite honest.
Because I've never been to Moscow. My old man's been to Moscow. During 70s. So this is like during the height of the Soviet Union and stuff like that. So. Yeah, and all this kind of stuff going on. But he read quite a bit on it. I think he did. It's being in a museum in London when your revolution is taking place and calling the guy the leader of the revolution. It seems to be kind of a bit of a contradiction in terms, because if you're leading a revolution, aren't you supposed to be
leading it?
Leading it. What's taking place?
Yeah, I was community organising the revolution. You see, yeah.
I was using my Snapchat.
I see myself as more in a managerial role. You see, yeah.
It's awful. To be honest, you've read more happily than I have on the revolution and communism, but I find it very tiresome to read. To be honest, I try and read the enemies, but the people who you can be opposed to, and I just find it fucking boring. Do you know what I mean? So I get to the point where I'm going to go and read a bit of history on English history because it's going to be a more productive use of my time. You know what I mean? So that's why I try and tend to avoid talking to lefties, because you end up, as much as it's fun sometimes, it's just kind of like you're just going round and round and round in circles with them, because like you said, they always try to find a little loophole, don't they? Always try to find somewhere where they're going to get squirm their way out.
Mostly, if I've said this before on Bruce History, I still consider myself a leftist, but I'm open to these ideas, and I know, but
I'll be your banned from this show forever.
I know.
I'll be fucking commie.
Yeah. But hey, I said there, look, you
fuck off back to communism, commie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. When I have kids, I'll be like, you better fucking work for those meals. Oh, but he's only 1 month old. No fucking excuses. We're a capitalist household.
Yeah, because fuck you, you're going to name your fucking kid Hovis about the bread line you're going to fucking live in. Fuck you.
Oh, not the bread lines again, fuck's sake.
Oh, we love our bread lines. Queuing is what made our country of Bratislava great.
Yeah. Well, British people like queuing, and they do a lot of queuing in communism, so I reckon we'll be all right.
Yep.
Does anybody want to talk about Max Mosley? Because we were talking about Max Mosley the other day, and I dug out an article about him. You don't?
No, not really. The man's a complete arsehole. He's a complete fucking degenerate.
He did all right. He did all right with the FIA, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? He's not the greatest, but anyone's associate of Eccleston's got to be a bit shady, to be honest.
So it says snaps of associate.
Snaps of a young Max.
Well, yeah.
Is it? Hold on a sec.
Multifaceted kind of like connections, so to speak.
Snaps of a young Max standing shoulder to shoulder with his dad's past shines an unsettling light on the privacy of the Crusaders' past. Didn't he take which paper did he take to court? Because didn't he get him on the fact that the hookers were dressed as Nazis when they weren't, or something?
Yes. It was something to do. I don't remember the exact story, but it was that arsehole Clifford. You know, Max Clifford.
Yeah.
Was it the him? I mean, he was a parasite. To be honest, I mean, as much as I'm not a massive fan of Max,
oh mate, but what wouldn't Clifford, you pay for Max Mosley's fucking Black Book of Secrets?
Oh yeah, apparently there was
what's that fucking worth? The dirt in that in not Max Mosley's, Max Clifford's book of dirty secrets.
I would say my prediction is that if we got our hands on his book of secrets, this show could get in its current sort of life form. We'd be able to get it on BBC 4. If we had that book, this show would be on BBC 4.
Didn't Clifford die?
Yes, that's what I meant.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Perhaps it's in a vault somewhere, and perhaps we'll have to.
Oh, someone's got it all right, haven't they?
Someone's definitely got hold of it. Yeah. There's inform these people that they've got the information on them. Yeah. I mean, because in the past it used to be kind of like, you know, the paper used to like, you know, tell the person they were going to do a story on. We're going to do a story on you. It's not going to be too good. Blah blah blah. You know, going back in the 60s and 70s, but the journalists they just become like rabid dogs, didn't they, with these fucking stories? And to be honest, mate, some of the stories are just not really in the interest of anybody.
Yeah, the fake shake? The fake shake. Do you remember the fake shake? In the News of the World. In the News of the World, it basically just like interview some fucking retard and ask them to buy drugs, and they would, and then they'd go with a newspaper.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I know, meaningless stories, you know.
Yeah, when the News of the World pretends to be fucking moral.
Yes, you've got a problem.
I mean, are we even going to go? Am I going to have to blow the dust off my fucking News of the World piss take joke book? Are we there? Hang on, let me get it up. Hang on.
I know.
Okay,
Max Mosley,
chapter 1. Yeah.
I know Max Mosley was with his dad. You know, after the war.
Campaign with him for was it the British Union Party that was?
Yeah.
Well, it says
in the 60s. Yeah.
I'll probably get it. It's like a potted history of Max Mosley. So, millionaire Max Mosley turned on the press after his sadomasochistic sex orgy with 5 hookers was exposed. But darker secrets unearthed about the privacy Crusaders' past have embarrassed his supporters in the Labour Party. There you go. Racist language has been found beside his name on a far-right party's fading election leaflet.
Yeah, and he went on Channel 4. And I've seen, if you go on the interview, though, to be fair, he does an half-decent job because the interviewer just keeps going on. I think it's that woman on Channel 4 with the blonde curly hair. I can't remember her name.
Oh, the Kathy Newman?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the one. And
so what you're saying
is... Yes, that's pretty much what the interview was. And he was going, look, I've already explained myself, the situation, and I've distanced myself from those ideas. And she goes, yes. And then back, and it's like, oh, wow. And you call yourself a journalist? Fucking hell, honestly. It was just...
Well, it actually says in this article, it says... And a deeper probe into his past has shone a light on claims of thuggery and die-hard support for his fascist, Hitler-loving father, Sir Oswald.
The thing is, if you look at the problem with people like... I mean, there's people who know a lot more about the ins and outs of what took place. But I know for a fact that, you know, with the British Union of Fascists in the 30s, they had to defend themselves because the commies used to turn up with razor blades in potatoes and lob it at them, nails, you know, makeshift weapons and stuff like that. And I know they sold a newspaper, Mosley did, and the people that were selling it were like generally like women and children, and they got attacked for selling it. So
he liked to ruck old Max Mosley, didn't he?
He did, but the thing was, you know, if someone's attacking you, and it's your dad at the time would have been in his 60s. You're going to defend him. You know, I know if someone attacked my old man, I'd go berserk. So it's kind of like the same thing. It's kind of like an inbuilt thing anyway. And
so it says here, Sir Oswald's far-right union movement thugs moved in when trouble broke out between white teddy boy gangs and black locals in London's Notting Hill in August 1958. West Indian homes were firebombed over several nights and black passers-by savagely assaulted. Do you know anything about this period of him?
I don't. Mostly? Not really. I've seen footage of him when he gets out of like I think it's. I don't know where the footage is. It's in the late 50s, early 60s, and this guy absolutely just chins Mosley like blindsides him, and and he gets knocked to the floor, and there's mass demonstrations. But to be honest, with regard to like that, I don't know much about anything kind of like the late 50s, early 60s. I know he suffered.
The next day, Kensington News told how "kill the joggers" had been shouted from the crowd. Obviously, not joggers was the word.
I know, but yeah, we go back to this thing. Do we trust the media? Because this is obviously, after the war. This is what 58 you say. So this is 13 years after the war. So
anything can be heard shouting from a crowd.
Of course, it can.
Yeah,
and it doesn't have to be from the person, does it? It can be from somebody who's just trying to shit stir and stir up trouble, isn't it?
So later on July 31st, 1962, Oswald and his neo-fascists marched in the Jewish quarter in Hackney, East London, chanting "Jews out."
Like I said, I don't know, but again, to be fair, he didn't have a massive support after the war. I mean, yeah, he did continue to be politically active, basically up until he died.
So Mosley has always denied him being involved in violence on behalf of UM and claims he broke from them in 1963. So he can only ever claim he broke from them. He can't actually tell you that he broke from them, can he?
I mean, his other son wrote a book. I remember the guy's name.
Alexander, I think they mention.
Yeah, he wrote a book on his mum, his dad, and obviously, inside the movement and stuff like that, which is, I don't know if it's still on Amazon, but it was. Yeah. And that's kind of more an impartial.
How about this then? The now defunct News of the World filmed his kinky 5-hour session with hookers sporting German military garb and striped prison camp style pajamas.
That is that.
I mean, credit the lad to do if it was 5 hours.
Well, yeah.
I know, yeah. They're trying to make him sound like some sort of Ubermensch, brawling with coons and fucking shagging prostitutes for 5 hours.
Oh, this guy
he sounds
like
some proper Chad, doesn't he?
Yeah, shags for 5 hours at a time.
Yeah. He won a landmark privacy case in 2008 when the judge ruled that this did not prove that the £2,500 romp was Nazi themed.
I know he won the lawsuit, didn't he? So.
Oh, wait, is it now maximum overdrive Mosley?
No. London's High Court heard Mosley calling himself Mike staged the orgy in a £2 million riverside flat on London's Chelsea embankment after paying the prostitutes £2,500 cash. Mr. Justice Eady told the hearing it was clear that Mosley threw himself into his role with considerable enthusiasm.
Who fucking wrote that, man?
The judge decided that although the young women victims wore striped pajamas, they were not necessarily Nazi-related clothes.
Victims? I'm sure they were for £2.5 grand.
It was victims in quotation marks, anyway.
I know.
Nothing lucid, girls. I just want you to turn up in pajamas.
How about this one then? Mosley blamed his hearing aids when he said that he had not heard one of the hookers allegedly cry out at on the orgy footage, "We are the Aryan race, blondes."
Wow.
The judge ruled the remark was unscripted and occurred amid a good deal of shouts and squeals, of delight or otherwise, and was not therefore Nazi related.
Well, during 5 hours, I bet there was a lot of
fucking hell. Fair play to him though, Jesus.
Yeah. How old was he when this took place?
That wasn't that good. What, 10 years ago or something, was it?
Must be about 10 or so years ago.
Yeah.
He did all right. He's obviously got a good motor beneath the old.
Yeah. He's certainly got the energy going there, hasn't he?
He's got the longevity, isn't he?
Yeah.
I know Mosley, Oswald Mosley, was a bit of a womanizer, so I can imagine.
Whereas that's the influence is watching your dad in full black shirt uniform.
I
have sex with beautiful women. You kind of just makes you into that.
Yeah, he sort of took it to the next level. He sort of thought, you know what, I'm gonna kind of like take my dad's kind of like roles, and I'm gonna take it a bit further. I think that's what he did. I think it's power as well, because like I said, he was obviously involved with Formula One for quite a few years. He was very, very influential in that. He's from a very wealthy and kind of like was an influential family. So
the guy he was campaigning for, where they found these banging on about these leaflets, Walter Hesketh, a celebrated cross-country runner, joined the union movement at 28. Son of a Manchester copy, fought the 1961 Moss Side by-election on immigration and housing. That October, the dad of three told a newspaper that coloured people who had come to the UK after 1945 should be sent home. Well, what the fuck's wrong with that?
Yeah, but then they'll spin the whole story as some kind of neo-Nazi, where what I mean. This is the media again. Isn't it?
Shit!
This is what in the late 50s and 60s.
The dude's wife stood in the local city elections in 1962, also representing the new union movement. What else? The evil legacy this chapter is. Max Mosley's fascist father, Sir Oswald, retired from politics in 1966, but his racist ideology lives on in Britain. Young Max was a leading figure in his dad's far-right union movement as a propagandist, public speaker, agent, proposed parliamentary candidate and legal advisor.
Did any of you watch the Peaky Blinders?
Oh my god, they're trying to link him to Thomas Mayer, who stabbed St. Joe to death.
They'll link anything to anything. If there's a connection somewhere, they'll find it.
That meeting where he unveiled like the party was just ridiculous, because Mosley, for one, ran for the new party to begin with after all this had occurred. So it's factually wrong. They didn't even get the symbols right. They didn't do like the lightning bolt. They didn't do them properly. They did this kind of weird, like, extra evil version of it, because I think they realised it probably looked too cool, and like it just looked quite interesting, like if they did it that way. And then instead of like, for some reason, all the people in the crowd were chanting what I've never heard. I think they were chanting like "Perish Judea" or something, and I'm like, I've never heard that ever.
No, I've never heard that at any of these meetings. No.
And I was just like, well, that didn't happen. The thing is, especially the early meetings, a lot of them were doing the socialist fist anyway, if you've seen footage.
Yeah, I mean, I know he crossed the floor, didn't he? And then he went to from the Conservatives, and he went to Labour, and then obviously disillusioned with the facts. He wrote the this massive report on how to solve basically unemployment in Britain.
And the Mosley Memorandum.
They completely ignored it, and I've read somewhere that basically even leftists now would admit if they'd implemented that, it would have been a significant in unemployment figures.
Apparently, Booyah's in Lacey's chat simping for her.
Is she still about? Because
she's streaming. She's streaming tonight, apparently.
Has she sort of left, like, kind of like these circles and in another circle? Where is she now?
I have no idea. She's just on the megabus nationalism, I think.
Okay. Yeah, if they find a way of destroying, a figure. I mean, when I found out they were doing it in Peaky Blinders, because I watched the first couple of seasons or series of it, I just got a bit bored of it, to be honest. I haven't really got around to watching the third or fourth or fifth, whatever it is now. So I saw a little bit of Mosley and stuff like that, and I knew that
they completely fucking turned him into something that he's not, didn't they?
Yeah, because like as you're saying earlier on, it's kind of like it's easy to like, and people get their opinions of it as well. I mean, I remember reading bits on Twitter after, and they believe that because the BBC produces something, a drama series, that this is gospel. This is what happened. Why would they lie? Kind of thing. I'm looking, but just pick up a book from that period, and it will tell you. Or go on Wikipedia. It even tells you he formed the new party before he actually formed, the BUF and this, that, and the other. So it's just fucking horseshit, to be honest. I can't believe people actually fall for it.
Have you seen the interview with the actor who plays him, where they were like, "How does it feel to play such a vile and reprehensible character?" And he's just there like, "I really enjoyed it."
To be fair, though, I mean, you can't not. I mean, Mosley was a very kind of like a very clever guy. He was a fantastic speaker. I mean, I don't think people can deny the fact he was he brought a lot of passion and emotion in his speeches, and that's what people remember the most. You know, what he was saying was true, and it was a lot of information there. It's the way you deliver a message is massively important as well, especially in politics. And I think he delivered that. You know, I think it would be quite a fascinating character to play, to be honest, because there's so much about the guy. You know, he changed his opinions on politics, his ideas, the way who he met. I mean, he met Hitler, Goebbels, Mussolini. You know, he met some of, like, say, the most notorious people in kind of the 20th century. So he didn't exactly live like what I'd say a boring life. So I mean, imagine as a character to play, it'd be quite interesting, even from a neutral perspective.
I've got a bit of a funny story to finish out on.
Yep, carry on.
Hold on a second. Brothels in sex workers offer to limit customers to 2 positions, which minimise the risk of transmitting coronavirus, to enable brothels to end lockdown in Switzerland.
Did you do it in Sidaki position?
The association has drawn up plans to encourage Switzerland to lift ban on sex work. Guidelines include sex positions which allow for safe distance between faces, and also states bed sheets should be washed and rooms aired after each customer.
Well, that's not too time consuming, then, is it? Oh.
Yeah. It comes as... So, Swiss sex workers have drawn up a list of rules which they say minimises the risk of transmitting coronavirus in brothels, in hopes the country's ban on the industry could soon be lifted. It comes as Switzerland's adult industry has been heavily hit by the pandemic after the government placed a temporary ban on prostitution 2 months ago to help stop the spread of the virus. The plan to reopen the industry, prepared by the organisation Procore, suggests that sex positions which allow for safe distance between faces, such as doggy style and reverse cowgirl, are advisable.
Doggy style, yeah.
Oh, come on. What world are we living in? Jesus Christ.
Yep, I know. It's a price. It's just get your mind around that one.
It gets better and better every single week.
It is. It's a cliche, but it's a bit like it's clown.
I've sat on this for a couple of weeks. The missus found this one and showed it and sent it to me. she thought we'd appreciate it on here.
Yeah. Oh my word.
I mean, I heard the thing that's saying, you know, these things are guidelines, but now there is a law. You may not have sex with people outside your household. I'm like, so what? The government encouraging incest then? But I told my ex about this, and the response was, "Do you feel like doing something naughty?" And I was like, "Do you mean break social distancing guidelines?"
Trying to do something kinky? You do.
Hobbits admitting to a crime on air.
Well, I can neither confirm or deny whether
squirming under pressure.
Whether the 2 meter distance thing was maintained during this.
Did you travel 260 miles?
Do you want to go bareback? Do you want to take your mask off?
So it's all right to spunk and a minge, just as long as you don't breathe sweet nothings into her ear.
Yeah,
pretty much.
So the last one here is the last paragraph here is prostitution in Sweden is legal and regulated, while trafficking, forcing people into prostitution, and most forms of pimping are illegal. As part of the measures to combat the COVID-19 pandemic, Switzerland temporarily banned prostitution from March the 16th. A Thai woman was arrested on March 24th for not closing her establishment in Rheineck in the canton of St. Gallen, and was fined 1,500 Swiss francs, which is 1,200 quid.
Isn't Switzerland one of those countries a bit like Norway's? Pretty expensive to go there as a kind of like a tourist.
Well, they got all that Nazi gold, didn't they? So they're all right for a couple of quid.
Yeah.
Liechtenstein, Switzerland, and Norway, they're not in the EU, and so they're subject to the EU's laws and such.
Ah, okay.
Were you on Scuggy's thing when he went through that video with the Dominic Pimenta, the Dr. Hobbit?
No, but I did see Scuggy's tweet with the black man with the big willy who was squatting on the face of the other black man who was saying, "I can't breathe," and I was like, "I'm not surprised with that great big dong on your lip." It's kind of hard not to see it. It's just like, yeah, it's like, all right, okay.
So Dominic Pimenta is a regular. He was the one who said he was gonna. What did he say? He was gonna stop being a doctor if Dominic Cummings didn't resign or something.
Go on then.
You're waiting.
Scuggy played the video, didn't he? Where he was whinging on about Dominic Cummings and says he was gonna leave England. I don't know, whatever, leave England or stop being a doctor. So it says. Dominic Pimenta is a regular commentator doctor on the telly, from Sky to Good Morning Britain to Channel 4 and of course the BBC. Last week he cruised across the airwaves the audacious claim that if Dominic Cummings didn't resign, he would. A week on from making his threat, Pimenta is yet to follow through on it. He does have previous for threatening walkouts. He previously threatened to quit the Labour Party during the 2016 moderates coup, telling The Guardian Labour had rediscovered its soul under Jeremy Corbyn. If he goes, so do I. So it says here, Dr. Pimenta clearly has difficulty keeping his promises, just like most politicians.
You mean like the same people that were going to leave the country or take in refugees but didn't?
I believe, what's it? Oh, is that fucking fat cow? What's her name? Amy Schumer. Amy Schumer said she was leaving, didn't she? If Trump won the election.
Yeah, she's still there. And then you say to them, "Well, aren't you leaving?" And they come up with some kind of screaming answer about
some
being
bullshit,
serious. I was just trying to make a political stance.
It's got some serious news here. A pigeon is arrested in India on suspicion of being a Pakistan spy.
Was it a coup?
A pigeon is... Oh, that's bad. A pigeon has been handed over to police in India after being accused of being a Pakistani spy. Not as bad as the is it Hartlepool, the monkey hangers, where they hung a monkey for being a French spy. Does everyone know that one?
No.
Oh yeah, I remember that story. Yeah.
Yeah. During
what do they do?
It was during the French
pigeon.
It was during one of our many wars with the French. Basically, what happened? A ship got wrecked, and a monkey washed up on shore. Because it didn't understand English, they thought it was French and hung it for being a spy.
Can you imagine the interrogation room though with the Indian? You know, the silent treatment confirms your guilt. You're a Pakistani spy. I mean,
yeah. The alleged spy was discovered by Geeta Devi, who lives in the Kathua district of Kashmir, after the bird flew into her home on May 24th. It was found having been painted pink and was carrying on its foot a ring with numbers on it. So, in other words, it's a racing pigeon.
Yeah. They got lost.
Yeah. Report that the senior superintendent of Kathua Police, Shalindendra Kumar Mishra, said, "We don't know where it came from. The locals captured it out near our fences. We've found a ring on its foot with some numbers are written." Further investigation is underway. That's it. We can all sleep safe then.
I mean,
the Hindustani police jumping on that like flies to shit.
Yeah,
they springing into action.
When questioning the interrogation room, it was a seditious. It kept saying about cool.
Have they asked it to show Bob's and Virginia?
This perfidious Pakistan, where they ordered nefarious plots to bring down the great Indian superpower 2020.
Right, on that, we've done. You got a bit more, Hobbit. Go on, get it all out,
I was
Hobbit.
just going to say, the Indians we would be superpower, but due to unforeseen circumstances with the Chinese virus, we cannot be anymore, Poppy.
You fucking pigeon, I'll take it down to fucking pub, mate, innit? We'll find out if you're a fucking spy, mate, innit?
I'll take those Chinese behind the pub and wank them all off. That was sort them out.
Didn't I hear something about the Chinese are invading India at the moment? India, is it?
Yeah, India, Pakistan, you name it, China's going into it. Even into Russia.
Even into Russia. Right, on that, I think we're all done. We've done 2 hours. Night all.
Night all.
Bye.